and see in this video what innovations the 93rd Brigade's artillery is working on and how it is evolving. With me is the fire control commander of the self-propelled artillery battalion of the 93rd Brigade Kolodny Yar. Call sign Hefest, you already know him, he has been on our channel more than once. It is Hefest who works on innovations and various artillery developments, namely robots, drones, and many other interesting things. This is also the unit of Pechka, Dim, and one of the youngest fighters in our artillery. But tell me, what happened to Pechka and why won't we see him on our screens for a few months?
Yes, on the 5th, Pechka completed a combat mission in the settlement of Drushkivka. There was a strike from an FPV drone, but fortunately the FPV didn't detonate and the entire crew managed to disembark from the vehicle on the move, so to speak. And unfortunately, Pechka was wounded. He broke his leg. Now, I repeat, the FPV didn't detonate, the guys disarmed it, and when the evacuation arrived to take Pechka out, Pechka was hit again. The FPV struck the evacuation vehicle, but fortunately, once again, Pechka only has a broken leg. Right now, Pechka has had surgery. A titanium plate was put in because the fracture was displaced. I think in about 3 months, Pechka will be back in action.
All right, now tell us, what new things do you have? You used to have bombers there, small bombers.
You had Lucky Strike drones?
Lucky strikes, so to speak. What about now? Now I see you have some radical changes here.
In our area right now, remote mining and FPV drones are being used very actively, and there are a lot of wounded among the personnel. And we had to come up with something because it became impossible to deliver supplies. So we switched to using large bombers. We use large bombers like Pegasus and Vampire, and for logistics we use Lynx, and there's also the Mangle drone. We'll show you everything today. We use both Starlink and our own communication systems. And next we'll tell you everything.
Today, in this very video, we'll show only ground robots. So tell me, how did you get them? How did you modify them? And how do you use them?
We received the ground robots while on duty and we modified them ourselves. We have technicians and RBNS helped us modify them. We have a drone called Mangle. We modified it from a miner drone. We modified it into a logistics drone. Well, now in the video we'll show everything, how we use it.
And tell us an interesting story about how you tricked those bastards when you were coming in.
Maybe we shouldn't, damn it, have all sorts of drones everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a really interesting topic. Maybe someday we'll tell the story. Because when the guys get to the position and hear that an FPV is flying at them, that's when this ground robot becomes invisible. How do you do that?
Well, we'll tell you a little later.
We'll tell you later when victory is closer. Yes, exactly. So now let's see who will tell us about the NRK and show us how to use it.
Yevhen Teacher, his call sign is Teacher. Yevhen, right now, he's our specialist in this matter. He'll show everything now. Go ahead, Zhenya. Jeka, come here.
Good afternoon. So we have two examples of ground robotic systems that are used in our unit. This is actually a small Mangalchik, and this is the well-known Rice Pro. Well, the difference between them is obvious. First of all, the size, and secondly, their cost, because the Mangal costs about 120 to 130,000, while the Riska is, well, approximately 800,000 hryvnias. Their tasks are a bit different. The Mangalchik, first of all, was originally made as a kamikaze, with several versions that can be used for mining or as a kamikaze. But we also re-equipped them, reworked them, made these interesting baskets for them instead of drop systems, and we use them for the logistical tasks of our unit. First of all, its payload capacity, despite the size of this little guy, it can easily carry 80 or even 90 kilograms of useful cargo to the required delivery point. The distance is up to 7 kilometers there and back. That's its tactical radius. Well, we've used it up to 14 kilometers. Well, for example, we urgently needed to deliver a generator to the guys. Their power was out at the position. And by the time you negotiate with the Alter Ego Ground Robotics Battalion, by the time you get in line, but we needed it, as they say, yesterday. They needed the generator by morning, got it, and had to have it running by evening. That's why with this kind of system we managed to deliver it to the guys. We carried out the operation under the command of Hephaestus together with my comrade Smart. We set out. He installed a relay for the Mangal on Lucky Oka strike on another flying drone. And so, while we were between Drushkivka and Mykolaipilia, by hand, with the remote out in the field, we managed to deliver a generator and 2 cans of fuel to the guys all the way past Mykolaipilia. This thing, it has completely different tasks. Well, first of all, its payload capacity is about 200 kilograms. It can definitely carry that if everything is secured properly. And its operating range is about 10 kilometers there and 10 kilometers back. It can easily handle that, maybe even more. The guys also used it using Starlink to deliver equipment to positions. Also, Hefes together with Panda Mykolaipilia would guide it by hand. They had a very tough, intense operation. We also use it now for rotations, delivering equipment to Drushkivka, to Pechki, to the outskirts because it's hard to get there. It's dangerous by car, so we load up in Drushkivka at the beginning in certain blocks, and then further on by hand with the remote, like with a toy. We drive it ahead of us with the equipment so we don't have to carry it ourselves. Because there, for working with Pegasus, for example, just the weight of the batteries for 67 missions is 90 kilograms, not counting the weight of the passive equipment itself. That's why these things really help us in our work.
Tell us a couple more real tasks that you accomplished specifically with these ground robots.
Well, just in the last month, we had tasks specifically with the Mangal ground robots. Well, the first task was when we were bringing in, as I mentioned earlier, a generator and several cans of fuel using a relay node. There was a case, then we had quite a strange situation when on 2 Pechkas near Mykolaipilia, it happened that one morning all the generators broke down, 3 generators, because they all died at the positions. And the guys urgently needed to get back to work. So 2 guys, Tito and Pechka. With 2 of those Mangal ground robots, they secured 3 new generators plus fuel on them. And they guided them there by hand all the way. I won't mention the names of the positions or the groves, they brought them there. The guys there took them, loaded the broken generators onto them, and in the same way carried them all the way to Drushkivka by hand, pulling out all the generators for repair. That was a great story. There was also a very, very interesting case. An unusual task. A neighboring brigade asked us to help them deliver wheels, I think for a howitzer, about 20, maybe 22 millimeters. I'm not exactly an artilleryman, so I can't say for sure, but we figured it out in a practical way, and of course each wheel weighed almost 80 kilograms. We put a wheel on top of 1 small robotic platform, secured it, and in this way, using 2 small robotic platforms, we managed to drag them all the way to Melkovi Mykolaipilia, where the damaged howitzer was located, and delivered 2 wheels there. Our neighbors were able to successfully evacuate their cannon this way, so that's an interesting story. Plus, we plan to use them for logistics and position rotations, because how was it before? When our guys were hit at the strong point or had to move when the position was compromised, they carried everything by hand. But when we could use an ATV, trailer or car, it was much easier. We just loaded up and left. Now, we usually do all this on foot. Well, I did it too, just like the guys. So, well, you have your weapon, your gear, your ammo, the essentials, your basic, minimal things. You don't throw remotes, tablets, or drones onto your plate carrier. The heavy equipment remains. Charging stations, generators, masts, cables, and so on. The guys start carrying them. Usually we went on foot, 10 to 13 kilometers. After a few kilometers, people can't carry this equipment. Because, well, it's 150 to 200 kilograms, not counting your weapons and ammunition, so unfortunately, we had to leave behind a lot of valuable equipment and destroy it on site in the tree lines or at the positions. And with the help of these little ones, you can easily secure the basic necessities, charging stations, generators, and you can take them out calmly and safely. This reduces both risks and losses, both losses for the unit and risks for the guys.
Well, you can see that the guys have the desire and the means to do it, but they don't have enough funds to buy those boards and that equipment that isn't provided. Not by the government, not by the brigade, not by anyone. So in this video, I want to ask everyone to contribute to this emergency fundraiser via the monobank card. Here's how much money we'll raise in a week. This will go to the guys in this particular unit. Tell me, what exactly do you need to buy?
Well, right now we have a very urgent need for R2D2 modules to modify. Well, actually, here is the Starlink Mini, which can be installed on ground robots as well as on Vampires, and we also plan to modify it for Pegasus. To overcome the radio horizon and be able to fly into places where we can't reach because of the landscape and terrain features. This is actually the Starlink Mini and a special R2D2 radio board which helps to connect and integrate drone control with Starlink. So the operator can control it directly online.
So how much does this kit cost?
The cost of one kit is 23,000 hryvnias. The R2D2 module itself is 10,000, plus the Starlink Mini is 13,000. Well, we have an urgent need for at least 5 of them at least.
So, you see, the guys need 5 of them. Well, however much we manage to collect, that's how much we'll collect. But the more we raise and the faster we do it, the more useful equipment we can deliver right at the positions will save the lives of our guys while we continue to defend our country, and we will definitely win because we are invincible. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the armed forces of Ukraine, glory to the volunteers and Putin.
Asshole!